Guess who's back? Back again. Butts are back. Tell your friends. And yes, we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, Nothing But Stuff returns for the 11th episode. We did it, Isaac. We've made it over the threshold. We've released. We are live in the world. How's it feel to be famous?
I just love getting over the threshold and releasing, Lewis.
Over the threshold and releasing.
Yep.
How did that moment feel? That moment of release?
Euphoric. A little bit of shame. And it was just wet.
Wet? I don't think you're using your computer correctly. But, no, it's true. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. We're out in the world. We've released episodes and the public are listening. And so far, Isaac, the results seem to be catastrophic. I don't know about you, but everyone's telling me how much they hate me.
Catastrophic. Yeah, no, I think I'm most pleased that your mum is actually listening.
Yeah, she is.
I was just...
Her exact review was, "You'll have a niche audience." And I was just like, yeah, well, you're in there.
Yeah, I when I was like doing the socials plugs and putting it on my Facebook to my 300 friends of ye olde days,
bragging about 300 friends.
I talked to 4 of them anymore, but it's just I'm pretty sure the title is enough for people to be like, yeah, I'm into that, or just not. Because if I saw it, I'd be like, haha, funny title. Most people, when I tell them, are like, oh.
Well, yes. Well, we'll have to see. Maybe by the time this episode goes live, maybe we won't even need the podcast anymore. Maybe we'll just be so famous we'll be on a TV show.
We'll have stand-ins. We'll have we'll hire some new Lewis and Isaacs.
Can I please pull a Steven Seagal and get my voice dubbed?
Yeah, as long as I can have a stunt double.
Yeah, okay, all those dangerous stunts.
It is. It's pretty dangerous in here, actually.
Can you imagine Steven Seagal launching this podcast? Hey there, Steven Seagal. Welcome to Nothing But Stuff. This week we're talking about another one of my movies.
While we're on that topic, that YouTube link I said where they put Steven Seagal as John Wick, and he's fighting while sitting down.
We're gonna have to put that.
And they talk about
that in the links now for this show. You need to watch it, everyone.
It's for someone. So this, I think it's a team of 2 guys. They deep faked Steven Seagal into the John Wick trailer, and it's fucking amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah. I sent it to Josh, and he was like, "Meh," and me and you were like, "But Steven!" Yeah. Anyway, Lewis, episode 11. Yes. We're famous now. So my recent stuff has mostly just been bling shopping, and it's just bling shopping, really. I got a grill. I've got one of those knuckle rings, which just says, one of them says thug and the other one says life.
But you wear them the wrong way around.
It's for photos. That's how it works.
In the mirror.
Yeah. So what's your recent stuff?
Well, recently I was chilling with my new best friend that's actually going to be replacing you on this show, Jake Gyllenhaal, and we sat down and watched his, what was it, 2013 film, Prisoners.
Great film.
I hadn't seen it before. My wife had seen it before. I'd never seen it. Just brilliant.
So
I can tell
good.
you one thing. I guarantee you the reason that Paul Dano got the role of the Riddler was this film. Because he's basically just the Riddler before he got his online friends.
Yeah, and the director did stuff like, I think, Arrival, Dune, which is interesting.
It's not the same guy as Dune, is it?
Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't realise that.
Which we know and love. And Sicario was really cool. He's really good. Really good. Dennis... I'm not going to be able to say it right. Denis Villeneuve. Literally have no idea how to say that. He's Canadian. But yeah, great director. Prisoners is awesome, definitely.
Yeah, really good. Really enjoyed it, much more than I thought I would. I mean, great cast. I mean, you can't go too wrong with the cast.
Hugh Jackman.
Although the wife of Hugh Jackman in it has a bit of a raw deal. She's like at the start, just like, haha, isn't life fun? And then the daughter goes missing, and then she just spends like the next hour and a half just being like, ugh, I'm so sleepy. Where's my baby? And okay, yeah, she's upset. I get it. But go out and do something productive, like kidnap someone, like Hugh Jackman does.
Just replace your kid with a new one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think back on it now, and the whole fact that, obviously, spoilers for the 10-year-old film Prisoners.
Yeah, well, everything we talk about here. Don't come here if you don't. Yeah.
Get over it. But yeah, the whole fact that it was, I think the thing that I found best about it was not the fact that Paul Dano's aunt, the character of Alex, he's called in the film.
Yep.
Not that his aunt was the serial killer, and not that his dad, his aunt, the person who actually kidnapped him when he was a kid. But it was the fact that he was one of the captured children. That's what I really liked. Because it just completely gave you so much, like, backstory to why this kid was quiet and weird, and, he completely had his innocence stolen. So, of course, when the little girls were brought back to the house, he wanted to take them for a drive, and, although I don't really get that, because she said, oh, yeah, he just wanted to take those girls for a drive. But are they saying that he brought the girls back to the aunt's house?
I think so.
Right, because I was going to say, because the only other bit it could be was when they actually caught him later on, and he'd just driven to that, garage.
I think he kidnapped them by accident. Like, he didn't willingly know that he was kidnapping them, and then took them to the person who actually kidnaps them. Do you know what I mean?
Either that, or potentially that's how she kidnaps people, because she knows that that's what he's like, and she's like, yeah, go meet some friends and bring them back home. Do you remember the ending as well?
I was about to say, is that the one with it's a really grim ending? It's
not. That's the point. It's open. So basically, Hugh Jackman figures out the aunt's the one who's got his girl, and he goes there to basically try and screw her up. But she drugs him, shoots him in the leg, and he gets put in a pit under a board under the car.
Yeah.
And then at the end, Jake Gyllenhaal's standing there. It's all been wrapped up, but he's gone missing. And he starts blowing the whistle that his daughter went back to the house to get at the start, which is when she got kidnapped.
Yeah.
And then he's keeps on hearing this really faint whistling. He keeps on turning around, just like, oh no, it must have just been me. And then he hears a, and then so the whole thing is. The interesting take I saw on it was Jake Gyllenhaal is obviously a guy who wants to punish the people doing bad things, right?
Yeah.
Like, he beats up Alex when he finds him. He beats up the guy who's, being almost... the guys in Ant-Man who plays the, Eastern European guy?
Yeah.
His name's David Dastmalchian? I'm not sure. Sorry, guys. Point is... he kicks the shit out of him, and then that guy kills himself. So the question that I read about afterwards was, if he finds him in that hole, does he save him? Or does he leave him in there to basically be like, no, you punish this poor child that got stolen away and all of this? Because he's pretty on the point about I'm going to fucking hurt these people.
Yeah, but that's like leaving someone in a pit to die. I feel like that makes him the bad guy. Yeah,
that's exactly what he's doing, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, cool film. I'm going on too much. This isn't our film review. But, yeah, really enjoyed it.
I was like, how do I tell him to stop talking?
You'll never find the way.
I've been trying for so many years.
But yeah, I recommend it. I gave it all away, but yeah, go watch it, everyone. It's a great film. Still very good to watch. Very well made.
Yeah, it kind of relies on the twists and turns, which you just gave away, but that's okay.
It's a decade old.
They heard the spoiler alert. My turn. And I told you I had two things, and now I'm going to have to cut both of them short.
Or just one of them and save one.
I'll do the game first. No, I don't want to, because they won't be recent enough. Game first. I've been playing video game called Wartales. One word. And it's quite interesting. So I think I've spoken about this before with Marvel's Midnight Suns. I like XCOM style strategy games. So the combat in this game is very XCOM tactics game, and it's medieval, swords and shields and that kind of thing. And I'd describe it as like a mercenary management game. So you build up your little team.
Command and Conquer sort of thing?
No, that's what I'm trying to get at. So you build up your team. It's like a almost quite zoomed out, I don't want to say comical, but like stylistic view of like a world map, and you have like, you see your guys wandering around, but they're like way out of proportion. It's not realistic, but
so like what's the other one that we were playing?
It's like Total War.
Josh as well. Total War and the medieval one.
Crusader Kings.
Crusader Kings.
Yeah, a bit like that. So yeah, you're oversized guys wandering around the world.
Yeah.
So you go and discover things. There's like, there's loads of crafting stuff, like professions that you have to get. And then when you go into a fight, it zooms down and you proper move your little characters around a bit like a chess game. That's all well and good. But what I really like about it is it's quite roleplay driven. It's really open. There's lots of choices, but the choices don't really affect much in the world other than like a bit of loot. But I think that makes you, because you're not trying to play for the best kind of reward, you're playing for what you think your band of bandits would do, and you can be good. Right. Like you could be going around killing the nasty bandits. You could be going around enslaving refugees. Like you can choose where your moral compass goes. So I went for a kind of bounty hunter vibe. My main character is the dog, as in the dog. Yeah, and so I googled the dog from Bounty. Dog the Bounty Hunter cast, the TV show with the ridiculous, righteous Christian guy with the long blonde mullet and the stupid wraparound shades, and he's like,
praise God,
he's a fucking tool. Go with Christ. And he's like literally a bounty hunter in America. Terrible but amazing show. So I've got the dog. I've got Beth as his sidekick, which is like his wife. There's Leland, Shane, Bonnie Joe.
So you named them all after his team.
Oh, whiskey. Yeah.
Whiskey. When I'm a grandpa, I want that nickname. Oh, whiskey.
I've got some pack mules called Christ, Moses, and Jebediah. So it's like, go with Christ. And I made them all have like monk cuts or mullets, or like as kind of redneck as I could go. So that gives me endless amusement. Really fun game. I'm not very good at sticking with games. I kind of give up when I get a little bored and go on to the new thing. I've been playing this pretty solidly for weeks and weeks. It's fun. Check out Wartales. And second one, on theme for the podcast, not the last things we were talking about, the D&D movie, Honor Among Thieves. You seen it yet?
No, Chris Pine. Chris Pine, yeah.
Star Trek man.
However, from what I love D&D as a game, what I've seen of the trailers of that film, I think I'm going to hate it. I
strongly disagree. We watched it with a couple of mates who are actually in our D&D group, obviously. Chris Pine's one of those actors who kind of plays the same character and everything, which sometimes works. But
handsome rogue.
So I always look into like trivia afterwards. As does my wife. I think she told me this one, but they wanted to make it in the same vein as like Monty Python's Holy Grail. So they went in trying to make it very silly, but they fucking nail it. I think the humor is really good. They do a really good job of kind of shout outs to diehard D&D fans, and whilst keeping it accessible for non-D&D people. They do. There's some. I don't want to do spoilers because it is new and not 10 years old, like Prisoners. But they do some stuff like they don't really like. The main character is a bard. He literally does like one magic spell in the whole thing, and it's like that kind of short sells bards a bit, in my opinion. And like the druid does like one thing. Like they don't show off enough skills of the classes. Is my only complaint. Some of the shit, like when bard does that spell and it fails, they do a really good way of like showing. Oh, in D&D, like you fail and you say to the player, like, what does it look like when you fail? They do a really good job of, as if someone was describing it. It's really hard to explain, but I, as a D&D fan, thought they're going to fuck D&D up for me. But I think they fucking nailed it. So
that is good to hear, because there must be... I mean, we've watched Mazes and Monsters already.
Yeah,
wow.
Well, there was a D&D movie from 90s, or maybe the 80s, and it was so bad.
Well, I don't wish to burst the bubble, but at some point on my film list, there may be one of the there's more than one, there's a lot,
loads.
But there is... there may be a little film on there, which may be related to this.
Anyway, I was very impressed by Honor Among Thieves.
I'm surprised.
We did like a cinema night with like popcorn and bags of sweets and stuff, and we were just cackling in our chairs. It was fucking hilarious.
Oh,
okay,
that's good.
So this is a long recent stuff, but we made it. We pulled through, Lewis.
Well done.
Whew, my butt's...
Fame becomes us.
My butt's kind of getting stuffed already, but there's loads of room, don't worry. I made room.
Isaac, let's get stuffing. We always say that. We should say it right at the start, but we always end up saying it about now if we remember.
Well, we've got that one and we've got let's stuff this butt, and I like both of them, so I'm happy to interchange. Let's get stuffing. I think no G with an apostrophe. Just, keep down with the kids, yo.
Yeah, we're hip.
I'm hip. I'm cool.
I'm groovy.
I'm bringing that word back, by the way. And so it's catching on, clearly.
Just a couple cool cats, man. Jive
right.
turkey. Sorry, no, that's an offensive term.
That is, yeah. So, fight stuff. Should we get it on?
I'm not so sure I want to this week, because beforehand you rolled it and then went, oh, you're in for some trouble. And I was like, oh, for God's sake. I don't know what I've got yet, but I'm not feeling positive. Can you remember the score at this point as well?
Shit, man. I've been re-listening to them as we do some editing.
I thought it was 3-2, but because we missed it a couple times, either due to quizzes or other bits and bobs.
There's no way our adult brains are ever going to remember this. Let's next.
I was going to say, oh no, Isaac, I remember. It's actually... to oh wow, I didn't realise me or you were in the lead. That's so impressive of me or you. I don't know why I'm talking like a robot, but yeah.
I didn't realise me was in the lead. So I'm going to give my character. I always do yours first, but I'm going to do mine first because I think it's funnier. Good. I think your one is funnier, but it's better at the end. So I will be playing. I also played the Xenomorph, but now I'm playing the Predator. So I'm on the other side of the coin.
Oh, man.
And my weapon... You think Predator probably doesn't need this, but he's got the Ark of the Covenant.
Fucking hell. Bearing in mind, we say that all standard gear comes along, so he's got like his rocket launcher, he's got his sides, he's got invisibility. He's invisible with rockets and the Ark of the Covenant, that's good.
He's a god.
Have I got like a Smurf or something?
Pretty much. So I'm going to say Ark of the Covenant is Indiana Jones' Ark of the Covenant, just so we know, kind of have a kind of grounding for its powers.
The canonical Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah. Not like, the real one. Okay, so Predator, Ark of the Covenant. Lewis. You ready, Lewis?
Oh, here we go.
Dwight Shrute.
Yes, I'm going to win!
With a Samsung phone ready to explode.
You forget, Dwight Shrute is always prepared.
Uh-huh.
What about that one episode where he's just like in the drawer, he pulls it open, there's a folder saying a knife, and there's a knife? He's got bear mace. He's got swords.
Yeah.
He's got a blow dart.
This is... I wouldn't say even, but there's a chance in there.
I'm figuring out a way for Dwight to win this.
Okay.
Dwight Shrute from The Office, the US version of The Office, for those of you who aren't in the know. If
Fair
you
enough.
aren't, just Jesus, man, just educate yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the American Office is fucking brilliant. So, I don't know why we're here, but we're in a sex shop.
Why? Oh, okay. Well, Dwight's a little kinky here and there.
Sure.
He likes short blonde women.
The Predator's head to toe in fishnets.
That's true.
Which I always thought was weird.
And, I mean, I'm not sure, but I imagine there's leather in the costume.
Yeah, but it's the fishnets, though. It's just like, why is he wearing a whole net? Anyway... So, all right, Let's roll off, boy. Ooh.
Well, that's a 3.
2.
Yes! Dwight can be prepared for once.
All right.
I never go first. This is like the second or third time. But wait.
Yeah, we always
The
say.
other time that I went first was when you had the alien and I had Bob the Builder.
So we always say, "Ah, you always go first." But actually, listening back, it's kind of half and half. I keep rolling 6s though, like a lot of 6s. But yeah, it's not always me first. But anyway.
Okay, so Dwight is in the shop, obviously, perusing. Looking a little bit intimidated, I think, but, you know, gets that sort of wry smile on his face he does sometimes. Wandering through, probably looking at German pornography, I would imagine.
Well, he does have a lot of German vibes in the show, doesn't he? With his, like, nursery rhymes and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
and then they cut off their thumbs so the kids learn the lesson.
Oh dear. And sort of turns the corner down the aisle and sees the Predator standing there. Ducks back behind, noting that the Predator would be a fierce opponent. Pats himself down. He's probably got shurikens on him or something.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
And I imagine on his because he's a guy who wears things on his belt. I imagine he's got some mace as well. So I reckon he then commando rolls out from the aisle, flings the shurikens, and goes Hadouken, and just throws them off.
It's so on point. Okay, so yeah, the shuriken is flying through the air in slow motion, as I explained, that the Predator is legitimately here for Dwight Shrute. Like, this is like apex predator hunting. He's one of the highest. Dwight Shrute is the apex predator.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So he is a trophy of Earth that the Predator needs to get. I guess he's in the sex shop just because Dwight Shrute is. He's probably
all that fishnet.
Yeah, he's probably maybe like looking at the dildos, being like, "Are these shoulder cannons? I don't know what these are. Like, they look like shoulder cannons. Maybe I'll get one later." And okay, so that's shuriken. I was trying to say Hadouken and shuriken. Shuriken is flying through the air. I think Predator. He doesn't like shoot stuff out of the air with his arm cannon thing. I think he will. He's just going to take it. He's just going to take the shuriken because it's going to give him that opportunity for some blasting, and that the triangle laser flicks up onto Dwight Shrute. And you hear that it does that kind of whipping noise as it does in the movie, and I think it hits. It's going towards Dwight. Obviously, it's not going to kill him right now. I think it maybe hits like a magazine stand and just sends like titties and ass and cocks all over the place. Various pages flying through the air. What's Dwight up to next? I think I might go invisible after that. Just and go invisible.
Dwight is then sort of, after his roll, going behind the magazine rack which protected him there. He's then sort of jumping up, doing sort of a half jump off the wall and shouting parkour, and grabbing as he does it, he sort of jumps up 1 foot on the wall, grabs a load of lube containers, goes parkour off the wall, and then like slams them down at the feet of where the Predator was, and then sort of does a cool spin, and then pulls open his jacket and inexplicably from the sleeve, even though he was bending his arm, pulls out like a knife. Let's say he's got a knife, because he's just Dwight has just proved that he is armed at all times. And then he's getting down low, and sort of waiting and just seeing if he can hear. He's ready to pounce. He's preparing an action.
He probably knows about the Predator. He's probably researched the Predator.
He's definitely got the comic books.
I was going to say here, I think you're better at this than me in general. That was just perfect, Dwight Shrute. Don't forget your Samsung phone, by the way, ready to explode. That's what's written down, because as they do. Okay, invisible. There's lube on the floor. So Predator's clever hunter. He's probably used to these kind of tricks, especially with humans, tricksy humans. He is going to shoot out the lights. He's going to be darting around on counters, on racks. He's going to be jumping around with those really bad 80s effects of the light moving around the room. The forest came alive. The porno mags came alive. And is just blasting out any kind of light source in this room.
Okay.
I think that's his move.
So the Predator is invisible. The lights are all out. Dwight is low on the floor. But quickly off of the wall, grabs one of the inflatable dolls, blows it up really quickly, takes off his tie, puts that around its neck, puts the glasses on it, and then he's right at the end of an aisle and slowly pushes the head up. And he's waiting to see where, because the lasers you can always see even when it goes invisible. He's waiting to see where the lasers come from so he can chuck the Samsung phone at the Predator.
Okay.
He's finally got twisted. His arm got twisted by Michael to buy a new phone, but he hates it, and he's just he just knows that if you just bend a little bit of it, it will just explode. So he almost primes it like a grenade, and then sticks it up and gets ready to lob the phone.
Predator is way closer than Dwight thought. The extendable double blades that come out of Predator's kind of wrist unit just go straight through that inflatable doll's inflated face, through the glasses, maybe cracking them, and it goes and collapses. I think Dwight gets the initiative on this.
Lobs the phone at him, and I don't know why. This is more just a reference to a funny bit in the show, which I found amusing. But he goes, "Mr. Jim Halpert!" as he just lobs it right at him.
Okay, unnecessary, but okay.
It's just a reference there. People love references, don't you, audience? Don't you, Mum? Thanks. Cheers, Mum. A show you've never watched.
I think, the explosion is a little bit blinding. It's like when Arnie's using the arrows that he's created with the explosions on the end. He's kind of shielding his thermal vision because it's blinding him. So that's when he does the iconic taking off the smooth metal helmet. And the dreadlocks, I always remember, the dreadlocks are on the helmet and his hair. It's both. Anyway, he's showing off his vagina face because, let's be honest, they've kind of got vagina faces. Pretty fucking disgusting vagina faces, but you're an ugly motherfucker.
We all get lonely sometimes.
Actually, I think he plays that recording to Dwight Shrute. You one ugly motherfucker. And where's Dwight? So he's blinded. He's taken off his mask. He can see properly now. But Dwight's quite close, and the Predator's huge. He is going to grab Dwight just with his hand by the scruff of the neck and lift him up. That's his move.
This is the point where Dwight, though, sort of one hand grasping at the hand around him, just goes, "You cannot defeat a true warrior!" and then just pulls out the mace from his belt, sprays it right in the now uncovered face of the Predator, in the mouth, in the eyes, in the nose, if they have noses.
They do. Sure. It's like slots, like slits.
Like little snake noses. And
Okay.
yeah, I think just maybe yells Excelsior or something like that. That's more of a Big Bang thing, but still.
Okay, so blinded again. The Predator's doing his snarly and he's kind of backing away. He knows the buttons on his console, his ARM console, pretty well. You hear the doo 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 doo, like the weird noises that come out of that. And you see like a light start to emerge from around his wrist unit. And it's almost like the corners, the edges, where like the seams of a lid on his wrist unit are cracking, but it's like a golden, almost heavenly light. And there's like a countdown you can see in some alien hieroglyphics going down on his arms console. And all he's going to do is start laughing. Playing that recording again. What's Dwight doing? What does Dwight think of this?
Dwight probably knows about the story of the Ark of the Covenant as like some weird German like name, like Arkenkraft or something like that.
You're pretty good.
The story of when Santa stole Jesus' Ark or something like that. Probably some German folklore or something. So I reckon he knows what's coming. And to try and protect himself, he would jump into like the pool of lube on the floor and start trying to almost cover himself in it, encase himself in it, to see if that can protect him in any way, give himself like a film of resistance over himself.
Film.
For some reason, Vaseline will be the way to stop the devil or something like that in the German folklore.
Well, they just have to not look, isn't that like you can't behold the Ark of the
Covenant. But we must remember, Isaac, all Germans present in Indiana Jones and the Ark of the Covenant did not make it, so maybe that their retellings are not
Sadly.
accurate.
Sadly, they did not make it, no. Okay. I think the Predator just kind of looks down at him, still laughing that pre-recorded laugh track. And he's just going to grab Dwight again by the neck and just kind of shove his face onto like the wrist unit. And as the countdown goes down, both of them are going to be disintegrated by the Ark of the Covenant. I think it's a suicide. It's his nuke.
You have a real way of just suiciding in these things.
Well, that's what he does. They do it in... Well, it's not many Predators.
Only when they know that they are beaten. Did he know that he was beaten?
Yes. I'm going with Dwight Shrute being too formidable.
I am going with a moral victory for Dwight Shrute.
I'm going...
It's absolutely a draw, but moral victory for Dwight Shrute.
I'm going with a draw. I think Dwight versus Predator is a draw. The purpose of the fight stuff is who wins, and I think it's a match.
Okay, so recently we couldn't decide who won, and now we're having a draw, so we're really getting bad at this.
Yeah. But I'm stick by it. I'm gonna stick by it. Here's what it is.
Everyone would have thought the Predator would have done better. Everyone knows Dwight was only using half of his natural power. So, I'll accept that. I will take.
I think it's in character. I think it's exactly what would happen.
I don't think I've played a character more accurately so far.
That was brilliant.
Fight stuff.
That was brilliant.
Cool.
So we've kind of already mentioned. We told them what the movie we're watching. So swiftly segueing. Is that a word? Segueing.
Swiftly we segue.
Yeah, a swift segue into movie stuff.
Into the next seggy.
So this is Dune 1984, which I have never seen before, and have heard only terrible things before watching it. Okay, that's like a little preface. And I love the newer one with directed by Denis Villeneuve. I can't say his name.
Chalamet.
Yeah, it's really good, really good. So I went in with those kind of very low expectations, I think. I think it was crazy 80s sci-fi, right? So if you know it's crazy 80s sci-fi, it's kind of... It's not a great film. It's really not. But I was entertained.
I would probably class this film as one of the most lovingly made turds I've ever seen. The costume design, the set design, while not all of it is choices I would have made, the effort, the dedication, like this is not a cheap film as well. This was like the 80s, and I believe it was somewhere around $45 million to make. That is big blockbuster money. Bearing in mind, first Star Wars film, which coincidentally looks way better than this, but that was about $15 million. Mm-hmm. This is like 3-4 times. They were jumping onto the sci-fi hype.
And my second note is, I've said it before in these, but I love proper special effects and set designs. Like when you know that someone made that. Like it's, you don't want to see behind it where it's all probably cardboard and stilts and stuff, but like some of those sets are fucking amazing. The costumes are a little silly. And like some of the makeup wasn't brilliant. Like the Baron, who's covered in like his boils and that wasn't great makeup. It was still disgusting and unnerving, which is exactly what they wanted. So that's not so bad. So my very first note before that one is music by Toto.
Yes, amazing.
It's like
incredible.
They've tried to do like a big film score, but with like some kind of electric guitar riffs in there and stuff. And straight after that, one of the best credits that I've ever seen in a movie, Creatures Created By. What an amazing title to have. Creatures Created By. Like, and the creatures are okay, but like, I've never seen it credited like that. So yeah, good guy. So, straight into the movie, huh? This was not quite, but almost a shot for shot. Not a remake, but I mean, it's the book, obviously. They've got the scenes there. But like, it was interesting having the comparison of the new movies to this old one. When you actually know the scenes and how they're different. So what's one that you've got?
Okay, my very first note is I don't get how drugs make space travel work. So immediately, I know they're just like, oh no, it's the spice. Why is drugs in space always called Spice Man as well? Fucking just pick something else. But anyway, it's probably all from this, in all fairness, but even Star Wars calls it spice. Who stole off of who?
Yeah. I don't know.
The book is probably predating Star Wars.
I don't know. We're going to get heavily corrected on that.
I don't care.
Maybe
come at me, bitch.
Maybe it'll generate some fucking comments on the social media. Where is everyone?
Well,
exactly.
They're all there now, but not now, if you get me. And then my next line is, wow, exposition dump much.
Oh my god.
Yes. This film is billed as Star Wars for adults, but apparently they filmed it and they were just like, this is incomprehensible. Yeah. It's 5 hours long, and still we don't know what's going on. So then they had to record that bit. And then you think, oh, this is the Emperor's daughter. She's going to be an important character. No, not
at all. She kind of shows up at the end again, but doesn't do anything. Yeah. Like, barely has a line. She's probably the only like cast member that was like still around later. But yeah, I wrote so much exposition. But the exposition doesn't stop with that intro. There's exposition all the way through the movie where it's just whole segments of just explaining things. And it's like, this is terrible writing. And there's this thing they do throughout the whole movie which I really, really hated. I thought it was like the weakest part of the movie.
Is it when they whisper all the exposition to you? Right, when you're just getting into a scene and then they go, oh, by the way, that guy tried to kill my son. It's fucking annoying.
Yeah. It's the thoughts, it's the voiceover thoughts that people have. So it like zooms in, they're having a conversation, and one of them just like stops fucking talking and is just staring at the person. That's just staring at the person that they're talking to, and it's like, and this person, oh my god, and the spice is so important, and it's just like, I don't need this. Like, just have a conversation. So that was awful.
That's quite book accurate, but also I think it was David Ayer or something who made this, who directed this, wasn't it?
David Lynch.
David Lynch, thank you. And the reason that he signed up to do this and not to direct The Empire Strikes Back as well.
Wow.
He turned that down to do this because he was told, we're going to let you do this over 2 films. We're going to let you, take your time with the story, kind of like what they're doing with the new one, because this is the first book.
Yeah.
The modern Dune film is the first pretty much half, but they do the first half of the book in the 1984 one in the first 3/4 of the film, and there's so much cut that I know you would. After one of the comments you made after watching this was, I feel like I know how the second half of the new Dune films are going to go now. Trust me, Isaac, you have no fucking idea.
Good, because I was almost a little bit annoyed that I'd watched this because I like the new one so much. I didn't want the spoiler of. I mean, obviously, I know the goodies are going to win against the baddies. Like, that's just, that's going to happen. But yeah, I didn't want spoilers. But like you say, it was like the last 15, 20 minutes. They just like jump through time.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, I guess the pace has picked up then. I see what you're saying. They told him it was going to be 2 movies, and then for some reason it wasn't. Yeah.
And he had 5 hours worth. And then they just cut so much out. That's why so much of it's exposition dumps, because there's so many words that they use and just like phrases. Like Paul has like 6 different names across the books, like different almost like Messiah names for different people, all this sort of stuff. But in this film, they just throw them at you, and you're just like, oh no, he's this now. Oh no, he's this. Oh no, he's the Guladid or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the fuck is going on?
So when I was watching the new ones, my kind of impression was, and I think I probably said this to you when I watched it, but that the world is so deep and has so much thought into it that it's, we said the word already, kind of touches on incomprehensible, just because it's like they use so much like terminology and nomenclature that is alien to you. So, but that's what the world is. But it gets away with it. Just about. You have to kind of concentrate a little bit. But then I thought back and I was like, well, Lord of the Rings was no different. Like, no,
this is a step above Lord of the Rings in terms of just like...
Okay, but it's similar.
It is and it isn't, like, because the books, Lord of the Rings, are more like that, because it's all about elven words and languages and blah, 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 whereas the films cut a lot of that shit out.
Yeah, but there's still, like, all the, like, over-the-top... like phrasing of things and all these like names of stuff with like the Aor and all these things. I just thought it was in a similar vein, at least.
Yeah, but it doesn't really touch on that much in the films. That's my point. Like, they don't go into the Aor, the Valinor, all this other sort of thing. Whereas in Dune, it's like they unapologetically wanted to be really faithful to the book, but did it. But because they were limited by the studio and time and all that, it just ended up being like I would have found it entirely incomprehensible if I hadn't watched the first Dune film and read the book.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, in the new ones, they do it in a way that gets away with it. In the 1984 one, it's just like fucking gobbledygook.
But it's also slower. I mean, as I said, like the 1984 one is meant to be the whole book. The first one gets up to when him and his mum, disappear off into the desert, and then they meet the Fremen.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going quite slowly.
I was just thinking we're diving really deep into this, and I don't mind touching on like the actual like art of the cinema, but this is a comedy podcast, so I'm going to start with. Scrotum monster, nat 20, that persuasion roll. So they bring the first scene is like the emperor of like the universe having a party, and like an alarm goes off that someone's approaching, and these guys wearing like neck to floor bin liners or like puffer jackets bring in this huge like obelisk looking carrier thing,
and a fetus worm.
And it opens up to show the scrotum monster. And yeah, I mean, it's a monster that looks like a scrotum. What more can I say? And so I didn't get it in that scene, but it's the like the Space Travelers Guild people.
They're the navigators of deep space.
Yeah. So I was like, why is the Emperor like answering to this guy? But it kind of made sense a bit later. Like they kind of run the universe really. Like, without the navigators, what are you going to fucking do? So they're quite important.
I mean, the whole point of this story is there's actually, like, behind every bit of power, there's actually other people ruling it. So the crazy Bene Gesserit women are kind of ruling the universe because they decide literally who breeds with who, whether they can have male or female daughters. Like,
male or female daughters.
People. Thank you. Yeah, you know what I mean, though. Like, they decide who, like, which one of their order goes, because that's Paul's mum. She was told not to have a son, and she did. Blah blah blah. And she's meant to be. Let's not
go too deep into it, man. Because comedy podcast, I was going to say the Nat 20, the persuasion roll, because he's talking to the Emperor, who you're like, this is the Emperor of the universe. And he the scrotum monster kind of alludes like, oh, you're fucking around, like you're doing some espionage. And the Emperor's like, no. And then the scrotum monster's like, go on, tell me. And the Emperor just like spills the beans, just all of it. Just like, yeah, so I'm doing this and I'm manipulating that guy and I'm making this happen. So there's war. And then it's just like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good persuasion roll. So I thought that was funny. And then they do this bit where it's like, that the Bene Gesserit, who's like the kind of witch, I'm just going to call them the witch in this because it's easier. They're like the groups of witches. They're like, I'll listen to his thoughts so we can like get a better idea of what's going on. And then she's like banished to the next room because they don't want the witch in the room while they chat. So she goes next door and does some like mental shit, some mental magic powers, and just eavesdrops. It wasn't really like mind reading. She's just listening to the conversation. It doesn't add, it's rubbish. And then my next one is Patrick Stewart and his facial hair buddies. Was he born bald? And did he donate it to his buddies?
Okay, well, to jump in then, I've got a note that comes before that and then immediately from that point as well. So I've got a note here by basically saying this film is giving away so much straight away because of all the exposition, and yet it feels like I know nothing and have so many questions. Because it's just like exposition with nothing tying it together, no reason or rhyme, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
It's terrible.
And then my next note is, wow, the shields. The actual, like, force field shields that they use.
Oh my god.
It's like Ditto from Pokemon, but, like, having a stroke.
I described it as, like, two pieces of Tetris fighting. Like, it's just these blocks just, like, slamming into each other. You don't know which one's which. You don't know if anyone's winning or losing. Yeah. Like, what's going on? Terrible, terrible effects. But just before that was actually a genuinely fucking great line, I thought. I think it's Paul who turns, like, they want to do some training, and Paul turns around and says, oh, I'm not in the mood. And Patrick Stewart, I can't remember his name because Patrick's Gurney or something.
Yeah.
I'm just going to call him
Played
Patrick
by
Stewart.
Josh Brolin in the new one.
He says, moods are a thing for cattle and love play. I was like, what a fantastic line.
I bet you anything Patrick Stewart just ad-libbed that. That's just what he thought.
Moods are things for cattle and love play. It's just brilliant.
It's incredible.
And then the training dummy comes out. Like they're showing off the sonic weapons that are a big threat apparently. They again don't really allude to that. And I swear he's not using his voice at that bit. He's just got a gun which shoots sound.
The whole point is, like, he's not even supposed to be learning this thing, because the Bene Gesserit are all meant to be women, right? So his mum is not even meant to be teaching him this, and he's, like, not that great at it at the start. That happens in the new film as well. It's called, like, literally just The Voice. It's kind of like Star Wars commanding someone. Like, considering that the Star Wars films came out after these books did, you can kind of see that George Lucas stole quite a few things from it. Yeah. But the next note that I've got is when he's doing the trial thing where he puts his hand in the box.
Yeah.
And the woman who's doing it seems strangely turned on by the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh,
stick your hand in this box and you'll know pain.
Well, my exact line is, why does this lady seem turned on by him sticking his hand in her box? Yep.
Sounds about right. I got a couple. So I like that there's like dogs everywhere. Like in the beginning scene, there's like
not a pug.
But in the beginning scene, there's like a crowd of, I think, bulldogs. There's like 10 bulldogs that are walked through for no reason. But I was like, doggies. And then I really liked seeing the pug from 40 years ago before they were turned into like inbred degenerative time bombs. Like it's kind of skinny and it's breathing properly, and it's like, oh, that's what pugs used to look like. That's nice. And again, doggies.
It's a big cult thing that everyone like was annoyed that the family pug, because it's the Atreides family dog, wasn't put in the new film, and it wasn't. It's not in the books as well. I'll just add that.
Okay.
It's just something that David Lynch put in, and I respect him like hell for it.
Okay.
And then my next note is that Sting? And it is. It's Sting.
I was like, that's fucking Sting, isn't it? Like, the Sting, musician Sting, is, well, fucking awful. Like,
terrible.
Really bad actor. But in that scene, so that we're going over to the baddies of the story.
The Harkonnen, or the Harkonnen in the new one, and I hate the way they call it Harkonnen in the old film.
So I wrote in like quotation marks, yo, I think we found the bad guys. Like, they're so over the top evil. They've got like evil scientists and they're like murdering young boys. But my note just before that is, fuck yeah, you know that squashed mouse crack pipe hits so right. Because they have this little like, it's like a little transparent box with a tiny little creature in it. And one of these bad guys like twists the thing on the top and it like squeezes a vice and squashes the mouse, and then he like inhales it. And I'm like, oh fuck yeah, give me some of that.
Have you noticed as well? I mean, this is such a classic 80s thing, that all the good people are all pretty, skinny, and straight, and all of the evil people are fat, ugly, and or ginger, and gay.
And gay, yeah.
And gay. Like, there's a real homosexual vibe going on throughout the Harkonnens in this film.
I think the ginger thing, wasn't that supposed to kind of show...
They were brothers, yeah.
No, but there's a lot of them. It's not just them.
It's like a racial tendency, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like inbreeding, and they're kind of showing off that kind of the genetic traits that they are promoting, because they're evil overlords. But yeah, what exactly did the Baron... For everyone, the Baron's the big bad guy of the story. What did he do to the poor boy with the reverse mohawk? He comes up and like twists his like heart key and pulls it out, and he just like dies. And there's like a bunch of tulips that he puts down. I was like, I get later he puts a message in the corpse, but the way that this boy comes in and puts the tulip down. I say boy, he's like 18. Seems to kind of infer that there's been several of these boys and they all put down a tulip and then die. But like, because the Baron's like salivating over him, I thought he was going to rape him, to be honest. But he like just pulls his little heart plug and he dies. But why?
I don't know. I've read the books. I was watching that bit and I didn't really know what it referred to. But what they definitely have not touched on in the new film, but they gave more of a vibe of on this one, is that in the book, the Baron is like a proper child abuse monster. Like, he gets like boys sent to him, and then he like has his way and then kills them as part of having his way with them.
Wonderful.
And it never goes into detail, thank God.
Yeah, fuck
but
yeah.
It is... There is no other way of interpreting it. Like, it is made very clear that this guy is a monster. And I kind of respected this film a little bit for almost touching on it with that. But I do just have this note here saying, the fuck is with the bloody horny Baron? Like,
yeah, well,
it's gross.
Again, that brings me back to, yo, I think I found the bad guys. Like, they're so evil. How do they get away with anything? My next one, I like it when they say spice gas. It makes me think of farts. Use the spice gas. Oh, I've got some spice gas brewing.
Well, my next line here... Oh, line. I would say line. This is my next line, please. Is just... We mentioned it at the start, but you can tell that this wasn't, like, thrown together quickly. Like, this was a lovingly made... This was trying to be, like, a lovingly made adaptation that, if it was allowed to be 5 hours long, would probably be pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, for the time, but, sure.
Like, if it had been done the way that David Lynch wanted it to, he's a solid director, he's done great stuff. I mean, this is 4 times as expensive as Star Wars. I've made this note here, so I obviously looked it up at the time. 4 times as expensive. But yet there are some bits which look incredible, and then there's, like, the bit where one of the, like, guild worms is, like, spitting, but then it looks like fire liquid.
Yeah!
Glue.
What the fuck? I think I wrote David Lynch and his fucking dream sequences. Like, have you seen Twin Peaks, which is, like, his big one?
No, I don't think I have. I think that's a classic that I need to see.
No, you don't. Me and Becca tried watching it, and it's just so weird. It's kind of good at the same time, but like it's very. This film is very David Lynch. Just the scrotum monster like throwing up on stuff and then traveling through the stars. Like what was happening? I don't know. I was hoping you could answer it, but apparently not.
No, because it doesn't go into that really in the book as far as I can remember. And then the next line I've just got is, "The fuck is with the spitting?" When the Baron just like dribbles on the Atreides' mum's face.
Oh, that's ages down in my notes, but oh my god, that was fucking horrible.
Yeah, he's just like, duh. He just like spits on it. It's like, ugh.
He's like, I came here just to spit on your face. And it's like, wow. Like that was, and it was so graphic. Like you see like the globule of it and it like just splashes on her face. Fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Like, I was like visibly like unnerved by that. I like it when the Atreides arrive on Arrakis. And it's the voiceover, more exposition. And I think it's the mum doing the voiceover, and it's like,
Isaac, can you deliver the next notes as if we're watching the film like this? That'd be great.
I'm not going to do that. And it's literally the ship arriving. They've just arrived, and the mum says, Atreides patrols were doubled. But you just arrived. There aren't any patrols. 2 times 0 is 0. That's not very wise.
No, I mean, I can forgive the film for that because they do send people earlier than
yeah.
I know you're having a little funsies.
Funsies, yeah.
Isn't that what we're all about here at Nothing But Stuff, Isaac? All about the funsies.
Okay.
My next line is the Baron may be worse than the one in the modern film. He's like much more comical, but also just so much more gross.
Really horrible.
Like, the one in the new one is, like, this menacing creature. Like, he has this presence and this weight about him. But the one in the new one, like, when he goes up into the air, he's
my God.
He almost looks like a fat inflatable.
Every time he's flying. Yeah, for the audience, imagine, you know those, like, funfair kind of sumo suits when you, like, fight? Imagine one of those on, like, wires in the theatre.
Imagine Mary Poppin wearing one of those.
Yeah, just, like, he's hilarious when he's flying around. He's still fucking terrifying, but in a different way.
He's got this real horrible, like, comical but amusing... Well, no, comical and amusing, yet horrible presence about him. And then my next note is just this whole film feels like a horrible mushroom trip. Yep,
that's David Lynch, baby. So... There's a funny bit. Well, I thought it was funny. They're on Arrakis, and I think they're about to be sieged by the Harkonnen.
Harkonnen.
It is Harkonnen. I thought you didn't like Harkonnen.
I don't, but in this film,
okay.
They call the Harkonnen.
Sure.
In the new one, they say Harkonnen.
Whatever. And like, there's 2 like radio people like picking up the signal. And one of them picks it up, and he's like got the little speaker, and he's like, a foreign language. Translate it. And the guy next to him literally just like turns one dial. And it translates, and it's like, I feel like you could have done that yourself. Translate it. Just like, okay, done.
Yeah, maybe they're sitting there. Maybe they each only have like 3 or 4 duties at their station, and they're just like, you know what, we're a team, and we're going to work as a team. Maybe that's just camaraderie, Isaac. You just have forgotten what it's like to be a part of a real good team.
I think my notes are out of order or something, but there's the bit when they go to the spice harvester. With the first time we see the worm and all that stuff, which is an awesome scene in the new one. And they're like, it's all about trying to show that the Atreides Duke cares about the men and not the spice. But they specifically say there are 26 people on that harvester. So they fly down to save them and pick them up. They get 3. And then fly off. It's like, there's loads of room. Like, we're getting heavy. And it's like, that was when you really got 1 on there. I mean, like, get some more? Like, where are they? The worm was cool. I mean, it's hard to do
not
a big.
as good as the new one, but even like that bit, like in the new film, like where what's his name? Paul actually. I still can't get over the fact that this is like such a crazy sci-fi film. The main character's called Paul.
I know.
Like, that still bothers me.
And Duncan.
Yeah, Duncan Idaho, the most horrible name ever given to any sci-fi character. Anyway, but in that scene, like how in the new film and the book, he gets out and then he gets like loads of spice blown in his face, and then he has like this like vision thing. Whereas in this one, he just sits in there and a bit sort of blows against his face, and he's just inside and he goes, ugh. Yeah. Just sort of has this moment. It's like not as impactful, but probably also budget.
Yeah,
like, we can't spend the money there. Let's spend it on all this shit.
I liked how they gave the sense of scale of the worm though when it eats the harvester. Like that was pretty scary. Like if you can give it a bit of benefit of the doubt, or like suspend your disbelief, that it's like, oh, that's a big fucking worm to eat that huge industrial harvester thing. So yeah, there's Patrick Stewart holding the pug and doing a war cry. I love that. So the Atreides get fucked by the Harkonnen, the spitting on the face, and then so Paul's mum is like 10 years older than him in this.
Oh yeah, I mean he's meant to be like 15 in the film. But my next note is after they're out in they escape, they're out in the desert, and to warn her, because he's done his research before they went there about like not attracting the worms. They get attracted to like rhythmic noises in the sand. Yeah. So he's just like, walk without rhythm and the worms won't get us, and then they just walk completely.
They just walk normally. Yeah,
completely normally.
You just gave the instruction and then ignored it, like your own instruction. They do a quite cool job of it in the new one.
Don't do what I'm doing right now, and then just with that. Like,
in the new one, they kind of like research like the actual optimum way to run without rhythm, and it's like
when they run they can't do it, but you see when they're walking they're like hop and then take like little steps, and like they proper break up their walking.
Yeah, and it looks quite.
In this they're like, don't walk with rhythm. Yeah,
and when they're in the desert again on the scale of the worms, so the one of these worms is attacking the mum and Paul, and they hide in like a crack in a wall, like a kind of sort of a cave, but barely. And like the scale is all off because the worm's mouth and like tongue is like right at the entrance to this little cave. It's a tiny little hole. It's like that would be way bigger. And then the cave wall kind of falls off, and it's like the most bait bit of like polystyrene just like falls down. It's just like, yeah, that would have happened. I just thought that was pretty poor. And then I wrote, I like that everyone has their poop and piss carried around on their thighs like a colostomy bag.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's something like it's meant to. I think in the book it actually goes on about like how long you can sustain yourself. I mean, the body breaks down water as it uses it, so the fact that you're meant to be able to last like 2 weeks by just drinking your own recycled piss, don't buy it. But did you like the South Park reference in this, by the way?
The
bit where they bring out the cat and it's in the little cradle, like in the episode where they sniff cat piss.
Okay.
What the fuck was that?
I wrote down they poison one of the advisors, right? And they say the only way to cure it is by sucking something out of the cat?
I think he has to, like, keep the cat alive, otherwise he'll die. Like, it is just... I was just like, what the fuck is this? I was so confused.
And it had a rat strapped to it.
Yeah. Like,
or a mouse or whatever.
Going on?
Yeah.
What is going on there?
Oh, he says... Okay, the line, I wrote it down. Well, not the actual line, but it's a cat to milk for the antidote. To milk it. And then they just leave it, and you never see that guy again.
No.
It's just like, okay, I guess. I get you're evil again. This is again, yep, you're evil. I got it. Like it's fucked up.
Mr. Lynch, if you ever listen to this, please email in because we have questions. We have questions that require answers.
Just random shit. It's like the fucking hats in the Maze and Monsters thing. It's just like, why? You could just not have the hats. You were trying to find time in your 5-hour runtime. Cut that shit.
Yeah, I have no idea, mate, honestly. So my next bit is when Paul is starting to lead the Fremen. Have you got anything before then?
It kind of just went into like in capital letters. Suddenly, Paul is fucking the blue eyes chick, and there's so much making out. Like so much screen time for them just fucking going at it.
Finally.
Yeah,
Finally.
It's just all tongues.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I guess, like, unnecessary. I get it that they're in love, I guess.
Yeah, I know, but come on.
Yeah. And then, did they put the long hair on Patrick Stewart? Is that a wig that they just kind of like they give him like?
They paused filming for several years so he could grow it out.
He grows out like this like weird little grey curtain around the back of his head. It's just like really, it's just mean.
It's like oh God, what's the comedian, the British comedian?
Bill Bailey.
Bill Bailey, thank you. Yeah, he's just got his haircut and it's amazing. So my next bit here is when Paul is addressing the Fremen in their cave, and he's just like, I will train you to do the like voice thing that I do and be better warriors. I will train your 100 best warriors, and then they will train the thousands of you. Next scene, he's with those 100 warriors and just 2 children. For no reason. There's just 2 fucking kids there as well.
Okay, I didn't notice that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just that, literally, he's just like, send me your 100 best warriors, and he's just standing there, and then at the front, 2 kids. Just like, are they, like, is it bring your kid to work day? Are they 2 of the 100? Because I didn't count everyone there.
Maybe they're to be feared.
Maybe.
Who knows? And then it does some weird shit, shocker, right? Because Paul is just obsessed about riding the worm. Why, Paul? Why? Why do you have to ride? I get that it's a good, like, weapon. I get a good mount against in a siege because they're really big and scary. But like, he's obsessed, and they don't explain it. He's just like, the vision said, "I gotta get on that worm, baby." It's like, why?
Yeah, I mean, in the books, it goes into it more because, like, riding the worms is something that the Fremen do because they're just like, how the fuck can they get across these deserts and things like this? So it's like a pretty standard thing that people do in this, like, but that no one outside the Fremen knows that they can do it. But still, I agree. In the context of this film, it's just like all of a sudden he just sees like a dangerous, like imagine the first person to see an elephant and just think, I want to ride that.
I'm gonna ride that.
Just be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? That looks dangerous.
And then, what's the water of life, Lewis? They mention it a bunch of times, and then he lies down in the desert and survives, I guess. But like, what is it?
It's like Messiah juice, as far as I'm aware. So
that's not an explanation. That's just another name.
like,
what is it?
Juice. I mean, how much more could I explain it to you, the layman that I?
It's so important, though. I just I don't know why.
I think it's kind of like because it's one because his mum. Did you realise that his mum drinks it first?
Yeah, and then gives birth to his sister, who's like the reincarnation of some random. Yeah, I don't know.
She's like got. It's like
she's suddenly bald. Suddenly,
yeah. I don't know why they chose to change her because at one point I was like, "The fuck is this person?"
Yeah.
It took me like 3 scenes to realise.
I wrote. I didn't say it because it's not neither here nor there. But I wrote, "What the fuck? The bald witch from the beginning is now in the desert." And it's like, no, that's the mum. But suddenly she's bald and wearing the same clothes, and it's like that's confusing.
So I think it's meant to be like a test, like witches and stuff. The Bene Gesserit, they can take it, and there's like a decent chance they'll die, but not all of them. But are like
no men.
Like death for men.
Yeah, because
so the fact that he can drink it and survive means that he is their Jesus,
the Messiah. Yeah. I like. Okay, so for the audience, their trump card. Or what Paul brings them is these voice guns. You can channel your voice into these guns and shoot them. They're really cool. I like it when they upgrade them to pelvic thrust cannons. They're like, why isn't it just higher up? They've got like these cannon things sticking out from their groins, and they shout into them and explodes and explode things. And it's like, just move it onto your arm. Like, I don't know, or put it on a platform. But they're like
easier to aim.
But they're like, oh! There's a reason it's called firing from the hip. It's hard.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
So the next line that I have, obviously we're getting to the like fight scene towards the end.
Yeah,
Bearing in mind, the bit from when Paul When my note was like where Paul took the 100 best warriors, that is like from where the whole second half of the book starts.
Okay.
So we have got it is flying through it, as we should as well, because we are really going to overrun at this rate.
That's okay.
But anyway, yes. So my next note is just for the cast and crew of this film. Fucking must have sucked filming this film. Because they filmed it in like Mexico. Imagine wearing those leather suits in the desert all day, every day. That would suck.
You mean in the desert where everyone is almost all male and white?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then my next note is "Get out of my mind," which is just the funniest line when the little girl is like Paul's new sister. That's got,
the
like,
creepy one,
super Jesus powers, and she just looks at the Baron. And then he just goes, "Get out of my mind!" He just like loses his shit when she's just like, "You are a bastard," or something. I don't know what
she's
says,
speaking in the voice, and it's.
But she's doing it telekinetically.
She's a terrible actress.
Well, she's like 4.
She's,
but I agree.
Yes. Have you seen E.T.? There are better child actors.
Yeah.
And
it ties in well with this note. Creepy kid is creepy.
Creepy kid is creepy. Yeah, I just said trying too hard to be creepy. But the emperor of the universe comes down, and then they're being sieged by all the Fremen. And so they're just I like their defense method. There's like a spinning table thing where they can kind of play a video game and shoot like the auxiliary cannons on the outside of the temple. But why is it spinning? Like it just kind of slowly turns, and they look like they're playing a video game as they shoot people. It's just weird.
Everyone loves a lazy Susan, obviously.
And then the little girl titty twists the Baron to death. Did she pull his flying controls and then he flies off like uncontrollably, essentially?
Let's say yes.
Yeah,
because I don't know.
But what it looks like, because the flying controls are 2 like little knobs on his torso, it looks like she titty twists him,
just milks him,
gives him a purple nurple, and he flies away. That was funny. And then Sting's character is just so fucking pointless. But at least they had the triangular war drums with tambourines attached to hand for that fight.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I carry mine everywhere.
And the fight is so bad. It's
my god!
It's just a lot of jumpy spins. Like that's all it is. And then when he gets blasted by Paul into the ground, his eyes turn white.
Yeah.
Why? Like it's just weird.
I don't know.
That was my last note because it kind of goes out on such a low.
Well, it sort of gets to that bit, and I'm just like, there's going to be like some speech, or there's going to be some like culmination to the film, but it literally just goes, "Nah, we're done." Credits roll, and I'm just like, "What?" My last note is, "That's the end." Jesus fucking Christ!
Oh god, yeah. I mean, we're being critical because there's a lot to be critical about,
and we have a better film to compare it to.
I think the first half was all right. Like, it's, a little bit of incomprehensible, there's some crazy shit, but I really like the set design, I really like the costumes, I quite like the 80s sci-fi vibe. There's a lot of 80s sci-fi movies in the similar vein, or like you say, that one's a higher budget one. But, like, I like that kind of, it's almost high fantasy sci-fi, so it's like that it's so extremely sci-fi that it's hard to understand. And I quite enjoyed that. I didn't think it was the worst movie in the world. Like I said, I'm probably thinking this because my expectations were so low that I was like, it wasn't a waste of my life. But the second half was not so great. Just because of the pacing, they rushed through it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, this, because I reckon if they had got all the 5 hours that they originally filmed, along with someone competent to edit it without studio interference, there's probably a decent film in there. And you can see that there's so much love and attention gone into so many details, and the people that were in charge clearly really love the story of Dune.
Yeah.
It's also a turd.
I'm just glad that they've remade it well. because I'm really excited for the new one. That's this year, I think. Yeah. I'm very intrigued to see how that's going to go.
Floppy or sloppy?
It's a floppy. It doesn't quite reach sloppy. It's close.
It's too long and incomprehensive to follow easily, so it's not so bad that it comes full circle and is good again.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Well, yeah, that was June 1984. That was the film review Seggy. So, Isaac, what's the next Seggy for anyone who's only just found out about us somehow?
Well, the next Seggy, we've got a little run of Seggys, actually. Just a couple short ones. So I think I will take the lead with the first one. Just a quick one. Stupid stuff my kid had a complete tearful screaming meltdown about. Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a little bit of backstory. She was sitting on the backstory. Yeah, it's backstory because it just needs a little bit of context. She's sitting lying down on the sofa watching TV because I'm an awesome parent. Giving her a chocolate biscuit. Again, awesome parent. And
I want a chocolate biscuit now.
I come in. She makes a fucking mess because she's like 3. And I think, if I remember, 3-ish. And I come in with a little paper towel with just a damp, because I know I'm going to have to wipe down her face and her hands because it's chocolate and she's a 3-year-old. And I come in and I find she leans forward because she's ready. She's a good kid. She was about to let me wipe her down. But I find there's a little piece on her back. She's topless because it was warm, I guess. I don't know. She gets naked all the time. But a little piece on her lower back, like base of the spine. And I'm like, hold on, I'm just going to get this bit. So I wipe it off. Fucking meltdown that she couldn't lick it off herself. Because she likes to lick it off her fingers and stuff. And I was like, you can't lick your back! You can't!
I thought you were going to say it was poo.
No. She wanted to lick the chocolate off her back and lost her mind. It's just like, how do you not get this? Physics! So yeah, that was stupid stuff my kid cried about. Have you got anything to cap it off with?
Well, Isaac, on a day like this, when, fame and riches start falling at our feet, one must occasionally take the time to contemplate. Welcome, everyone, to Contemplate Stuff.
I love Contemplate Stuff. It's meditative.
So this isn't so much like something in the last ones, which is more like a concept. This is more like, something. This huge part of something which I love, which is one of the cornerstones of what I really base a lot of what I do love on.
Okay.
Star Wars. We all love Star Wars. I grew up with the original.
So nostalgia.
Star Wars. Yeah, but as in, like, so much of what we love is based off of it, or apparently based off of Dune and was stolen by Star Wars. As we found out. But yeah, Isaac, can you answer me this? Do you remember how the culmination of the first Star Wars film?
As in episode 4?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe.
Okay, so they destroy the little thing known as the Death Star.
Okay, we're going for grand picture. I thought you might have meant like actual outro scene. Okay, yeah.
No.
The goodies win.
The culmination of the film is that the rebels are attacking the Death Star. They fly in. They go through the trench run.
Yeah.
Darth Vader's behind them. They've got all of this.
It's pretty awesome.
Then they shoot the Luke uses the Force and shoots the proton torpedoes.
Uh-huh.
They go down, and then I never understood this as well, but do a 90-degree turn and then go down the tunnel.
Yep.
Why don't they just go straight at that hole? Why do they go down the trench run? They go down. They're going along the trench run. Why don't they just come perpendicular in?
Yeah. No, I always thought that it's like, so they know they got to find this vent hole thing, but they decide to fly around the Death Star first. Like,
why don't they just get all of their ships? They literally all just arrive all face directly at that fucking hole. Everyone just comes in,
just
shoots
shoot
everything they have, and just hope that one of them goes in. Like this whole like grand thing in this film about the trench run and stuff, and they have to make their torpedoes do a 90-degree angled turn. Which is just like
no.
You know what would have been real much easier? Just going straight at it. You know what you do when you play golf? You don't play around a tree randomly off to the side of the green and then go around into the hole. You go at the hole.
Well, I am going to contemplate that, Lewis.
Isaac, you should, and everyone out there, just wonder with me. Jesus Christ, is that film, which I pretty much think is perfect and I love, is it shit? Oh God!
Oh,
so, yeah.
I mean, don't get me started on the Force. Like, it's just bullshit. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but it's bullshit.
Soft magic systems.
It's
you
magic.
Always say,
ugh.
yeah, no, you always go on about how much you hate soft magic systems. Yet every single bit of big media is always soft magic, and all of our favourite things are always soft magic
Because it tells a good story, like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. It's because you can conveniently do whatever the fuck you want. And it's awesome when it happens. Like, they used the Force, it was amazing. It's like, why didn't they do that all the time then? Like, there's no rules. So it's...
Wait, you could have forced heal dust at any point.
Hold on, you can fly in space? What? Like, no.
Why haven't we just given Luke a spacesuit and just lobbed him at the Death Star? He could just cut holes in it from the outside.
Why didn't he just go perpendicular to the hole? He could just fly in himself. Why don't you just touch your forehead and think really hard? Maybe just blow up the Death Star. Stupid shit. Okay.
Contemplate stuff. Is everything terrible?
God, I hate life. Okay. So, we didn't get to RPG stuff. I did have one prepared. I was quite excited about it. But we've run out of time, and that's okay. We don't want to stretch things out too much. We don't want to rush it.
We don't want to stretch this butt too far.
Jesus Christ, that's a little bit too graphic.
Is it?
No. I love it.
Isaac, we've nearly stuffed up.
Oh my God. It's definitely Thanksgiving up in here. There's so much stuffing. We've made that joke before.
He's such a... You've been so Americanized by your somehow Canadian wife.
You mentioned Thanksgiving the last time. Anyway, butts are stuffed. And it's time to mosey on out of here, but not before we give the audience what they need, which is the next movie. I really want someone to actually say, yeah, I did watch the movie before the next episode, because I fucking doubt it. No one does.
Or if it's a more niche one, has seen it. So if it was if someone had comments on episode 1 being like, "Oh, I've seen Psycho Gorman, I can't wait for it." It's just like, that's cool. I like that. Yeah. Although now someone's going to go back and comment on it, and I'm going to know you're a liar, you fucking charlatan.
I'm hoping we could bring people into some new things they haven't seen before. Yeah, we would have spoiled it, but how much of it will they actually remember of us spoiling it? It's just a really bad trailer of us for 40 minutes.
I should also note as well, we're not that good at reviewing things.
Oh, we're terrible.
We don't really talk plot points.
Oh my gosh,
things like that. So.
Now we're just saying random stupid shit that happened in the movie that I made a note about.
I want someone now who has listened to our review and not seen either Dune films or read the book to tell me the story of Dune.
We're talking about how incomprehensible it was. It's like, we're not going to...
Okay, so we need to get somehow a fan of the show, but who hasn't watched episode 11, hasn't seen Dune original or the new one, and we're going to put that on Patreon when we get patrons. And it's just going to be us asking them, so how do you think the film started? And you're just like, there was a testicle monster?
There's a lot of stuff about scrotums. Okay. So, next movie. Lewis, I think you're going to guess this movie from... How many words is it? One of them's hyphenated. I'll say it's 3 words, to be fair.
Okay.
Prosthetic machine gun.
Prosthetic machine gun. Oh, it's the Robert Rodriguez!
Planet Terror.
Yes! I haven't seen that since we were teenagers.
I don't think I've met anyone that's seen it. And
it's so badass.
So this is back to the days where pre-Netflix. Actually, it's what Netflix originated with. It was Love Film. Yeah, but Netflix originally were the one, like, people are sending out DVDs, like a subscription service.
Yeah. It wasn't Love Film that became Netflix. They were separate.
Same model is all I meant.
Yeah.
So me and Lewis, I used to live with him when we were 17, and Planet Terror was on this list. So this is 2007, made by Robert Rodriguez. It's got a fucking insane cast. It's basically a B movie to one of Quentin Tarantino's films. I can't remember which one it is.
Was it Death Proof?
It might be, but like the original reason for the phrase B movie is literally like the other side of the tape, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of made it as, like, I guess, a joke. In the background, he didn't make it but it was.
It's made in that. It's not made to be an incredible film. It's made to be something. Like what's the other one, the like horror-y one that Sam Raimi did, with like the guy with the chainsaw and stuff.
Oh, Hobo with a Shotgun.
No, it's much older. With Bruce Campbell, Sam.
Oh,
Raimi.
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, yes.
Yeah,
it's that sort of vibe. It's like, yes, it's meant to be well made, but knows exactly what it's doing.
But it's got Josh Brolin, Bruce Willis, Quentin Tarantino, who, by the way, is credited as rapist number 1. Rose McGowan.
Number 1. I wonder how many.
Freddie Rodriguez.
Now to guess how many rapists there are in this.
Who else is fucking Danny Trejo? It's awesome cast. I remember we watched it many times, but I haven't seen it for a long time. It's got Cheech from Cheech and Chong, like, ridiculous cast. Anyway, not that he's a great. Someone is credited as the saxophone survivor. What the fuck is that? Anyway,
the man who plays the saxophone who survives something, or the man who survives the saxophone.
I guess we'll find out, won't we?
Find out next week on Nothing But Stuff. That's
all right,
folks.
All right, guys. Remember, please come and talk to us on Twitter and Instagram at NB Stuff Podcast. No, we've got people liking posts. We've got followers and stuff. No one's saying anything, and I'm sad.
Well, by the time that this episode comes out, hopefully we will.
I know, but I can still be sad now, Lewis. Validate my feelings.
We are 48 hours since we've released, and we don't have a comment yet. So, fuck you all. I fucking hate you. You let me down.
I hope you die. And that's Instagram, Twitter, NB Stuff Podcast. We've got nothingbutstuff@gmail.com. Email us with some random shit. I don't care. What else we got? We got Patreon /nothingbutstuff. What else we got, this?
2 T's in the butt.
2 T's in the butt.
2 T's in the butt. I really want that to... Anyone who's got musical talent out there, I want that to be like... You know in Family Guy where they're like, W Radio, Dingo and the Baby. I really want that kind of style of 2 T's in the butt. Sort of thing. And if you make it and we love it, it's going in the show every single week.
Oh,
so
man, like, fan art. I'd love to see, like, a drawing of Gary, the middle-aged warlock.
Or just us kissing.
There's going to be a lot of that. Like, so much. The problem is when we say that, then we'll definitely get it. So, okay. Just talk to us. We'd love it. We'd absolutely love it.
Yeah, we love your feedback. Thank you. This is... Well, yeah, so to the early viewers of episode 1 and 2 as well, we really, really appreciate it. You guys are great. If you're still listening to us now in episode 11... then you're absolute legends. If you ducked out, then you're pussies, and I hate you for I'm getting really angry at the audience tonight. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, it's good cop, bad cop. It's good.
Cowards.
We'll give them some Stockholm Syndrome. All right, guys. I think my butt is fully stuffed, and I might have to go and empty it now.
Tearing at the seams.
Oh, God, stretching and tearing. I hate it.